Rolling.
And we are rolling. We are live. Welcome back, everybody. Good to have you guys back. This is our fourth installment.
Fourth and final in this series.
Exactly, in this series. Doesn't mean we're not going to continue to have these, right?
Right, but they're not going to be as frequent as they have been, so just be prepared for that, right? We're just kind of trying some things out and see what the response is, and so far it's been pretty good response.
Man, it's been great. These 4 weeks have gone by super fast.
I know, we were just talking about that, how quick the time went by, and, you know, the feedback that we've gotten from you guys out there has just been tremendous as far as, you know, I'm appreciating the fact that everybody really likes the value that we're bringing in the series. So.
Absolutely. We always want to provide that value. And I know Frank hasn't been with us all 4, but he has his third one.
Yeah, and I'm glad everybody keeps asking me back.
You just see it swelling the head right now.
Well, this is the last one for this installment, so we figured why not?
Yeah,
let's bring him on back. So we'll do a little introduction for people who may be with us who haven't been to one of these before. So we'll go ahead and do the quick. I'll start. My name is William Agnew. I am the Dean and Director and Founder here at Cellular Repair School. We've been teaching people how to do cell phone repair for the last 2.5 years.
More than that.
Is it more than that?
More than that.
Sometimes I get stuck in my times. I get stuck in my times a lot of times.
Yeah, you're not trying to grow up.
I'm not trying to grow up. It might just be age, as you guys can see. I'm getting up there a little bit. So, but yeah, William Agnew, Dean and Director here at Cellular Repair School. Very excited about being here to talk to you guys. I'll pass it over to Josh.
Josh Ray. I'm also the founder of Cellular Repair School. I'm the current president, as well as the co-founder of Gearbana. And love providing value to you guys. I love the feedback that we get all the time. And realistically, just to kind of recap why we do these and why the school exists, is to provide some real value and some sustainability and credibility into a space where none of that ever has existed before.
Exactly.
Right. So that's my mission, my motto.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of sad to sign off on this one, but I know we'll be doing more. But you know, for sure, that's what we're here for. That's our creed, is to provide value.
Absolutely,
so.
Absolutely.
Last but not least,
and again, Frank Smith, co-founder of Gearbana Cellular Repair School, Chief Officer of Operations for Gearbana, and I've been doing this for about 5 years now, and been in the trenches, so to speak, you know. So I like this topic that we have today that we're going to get into, because I definitely deal with employees. I've been on both sides, I guess you could say. You know, I've been an employee in my own business, and you know, I've hired employees before. So.
Right.
You know what's funny? It's actually like it just always makes sense to bring you back, because it seems like every topic we have just hits right home.
Well, it's the real deal. I mean, this is
right?
someone who experiences everything we're talking about firsthand in the locations, you know. So,
exactly.
You know,
The school has the great theory, and then you know, I have the day-to-day, you know, operations and actually how to apply that theory. And really, that's why the stores and things like that, all the stores and all the industry that throughout the country is actually what feeds into the curriculum.
That's right.
It's the customer, you know, or I would say the student, that really tells Cellular Repair School what they need.
What they need.
Right.
So. Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Now, and we'll be talking about some things that we've got coming, because what tends to happen in this space is that people create for a need that used to exist.
Yeah, right.
Right. And we always pride ourselves on trying to create on the need that is going to exist and that we see coming. So there's some exciting announcements we'll be making tonight about things that are going to be coming down the pipeline within the next couple of weeks.
Oh, good. I'm excited.
So, yeah, there's some good stuff here. So why are we here tonight? What's our
we're
topic?
here tonight. Tonight's topic is, are you a good technician? So what does that mean exactly? And we told you guys before in the previous webinars that tonight we're going to focus on being the best technician you can be. Now, obviously, that's going to be catered to people who want to be technicians, but people who are hiring those technicians, right? It's just
a valid conversation,
exactly.
Right? Because that's the kind of people you want working for you.
Exactly.
Right. Because you don't want me working for you. I'm a horrible
Yeah, I concur.
But with that being said, Frank, you know what to look for in technicians, because obviously you're part of the hiring process, or you are the hiring process in your business. Yeah. So you know exactly what you're looking for in a technician, right?
Well, you know, I thought I knew, you know, I would say 2 years ago what I was looking for a technician. It's kind of developed over the times what was important, you know, looking for, whether it was a technician / customer service rep or just strictly technician. So, you know, with today, I want to talk about exactly just the technician. You know, one of the things that, you know, training is number one.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, the worst thing you can possibly do is hire an individual or someone says, yeah, I know how to fix cell phones, or yes, I'm trained, and realistically, they're not. Most of the time they either say they have experience or they have no formal education at all. Some of the few people that I've actually picked up from the school or whatnot and that's had training from the school was a complete difference than what people, let's say they're self-proclaimed technicians. And what that can do is they learn either bad habits or things on YouTube, or let's say they got trained at like another facility, your competition or whatnot. So those technicians can bring in bad things into your company. So what I look for in a technician is traits. Doesn't necessarily mean that that technician has to have the ability to fix every phone on the market. It's
absolutely, it's basic skills that every employee should possess, right? But and before we get into the specifics of those traits, I kind of want to dive in a little bit and mention that when we talk about a technician, what we have to remember is Frank is going to be talking specifically from a retail operational standpoint, right? But there's multiple different ways and avenues that technicians can operate. I mean, majority of our students up to this point tend to be self-employed entrepreneurs, right? So some of this is going to apply just because they want to be the best technicians for their customers,
right?
And some of this is going to apply because they're going to hire technicians as they grow and they don't want to do the work anymore. But there's a whole nother segment of our students that aren't necessarily working in the retail front. They're working for refurbishing houses or large operations that deal with insurance claims. So I just want to put that caveat out there.
And that's actually good, because one thing we didn't talk about what we're going to be talking about in terms of the agenda tonight. So the first thing that's on the agenda is exactly what you just mentioned, Josh, which is what are the career opportunities for cell phone or cell phone repair. We often say cell phone repair. I get it's not cell phone.
It's gadget repair, right? And in fact, I would say we're big proponents of fixing. We've always been this way since the day one of the school in Giovanni. Everything that we've always done is always to not pigeonhole ourselves into one revenue stream, right? So it's not just to focus on cell phone. In fact, we were joking the last show. I don't know if you remember that. I think it was the last one. Maybe it was one before that. But we were joking about how when we first got into the cell phone repair business, actually, we only fixed like 20% of our business with cell phones, right? Like 80% of what we did was like iPods and gaming consoles, right? So, and it took like a year before the shift started to turn and the business became mostly about cell phones. And the other things are still very pertinent, but for sure, that's what it's always about, is not pigeonholing into just cell phones. When we say that, it's all-encompassing. It is tablets, iPods, smart devices. It's going to be these little wearable phones, which I refuse to wear anytime soon.
I mean, I remember hearing stories about slot machines when we first started back in the day. Like, we fixed just about anything that would come through the door.
Yeah,
when we first started.
Literally, we would fix almost anything. And really, because it's not that we, Gearvana, Inspect Your Gadget or whatnot. We weren't just cell phone repair. We fixed it, like you said, what Josh is saying, gadgets. Literally, I fixed, and this is when I was fixing stuff, I fixed a board game. It was like a 1970s rare board game. And all it did was had this tower that just spun some things. And this guy's like, dude, if you can get this working for me, like triples the value. I'm like, yeah, no.
Oh, yeah. It was a pinball machine, wasn't it?
No, it was some weird board game, Tower of Death or something like that. but the moral of the story is,
what happened though?
What happened was I took it apart and I was like, all it was batteries corroded in the battery terminal area, and I just cleaned it out.
Well, not so much with that specifically, but how did the transition happen where you just said, you know what, I can't take on that kind of stuff anymore. I got to focus specifically on
here's what happens.
Mobile devices.
Here's what happens. Well, the first time was when I was 2 to 3 weeks out. I was pulling my hair out, because people want it. And
what does that mean, 2 to 3 weeks out?
2 to 3 weeks out on repairs.
So a customer would come in with a phone that wanted to get it repaired, and you had to tell them it would be 2 to 3 weeks before you could get their device back.
There'd be times.
And you weren't outsourcing the repairs. That was just how backed up you were.
That's how backed up. There was times, I would have between 40 and about 70 repairs in the line that needed to be repaired. I didn't have enough technicians, so I was going through this growth cycle in my company. And at that point, no, I'm not taking that board game. I'm not taking whatever. But when it was time, when I was, building the business, money's money, and we're going to get what we need to do. And plus, we're technicians. We're just not cell phone technicians. I consider myself as a background as a technician, or / problem solver. But I think you have to be that way because, for example, when we first got into the business, I was fixing Motorola V3s, BlackBerry trackballs, like regular LCDs and things like that. So that time, there was only certain devices people would fix. So it was like, a BlackBerry is X amount or whatnot, and so it wasn't really there like it is now.
Well,
So
I remember specifically the smartphones at the time were BlackBerries, right? And there was you remember this, the only touchscreen that was really popular at that time was the Palm Trio. It was the Palm Trio. It was the only one that was popular. The iPhone had just started to come into the market. I think it was released like a couple of months, after we opened up.
So, being able to be dynamic in what you were able to do, it's like, you know what? How do we get to that next level in the cycle of business? Let's bring on gaming consoles. Let's just do that. And then certain things, once real smartphones came into the business, we're like, okay, how do we even take it up another notch? And you know what? Man, this tablet thing's really catching on. It's just like a phone. Why don't we fix tablets? Okay, let's fix tablets. So I
want to get to some value for our audience.
All right, I do apologize. I do become long-winded.
Right.
No, it's
the moral of the story is you have to be well-rounded as a technician, and that's what makes a good technician.
Right.
And that's where the opportunity is, because if you are just got the blinders on and focused on one thing, you're not that valuable as a technician to an employer.
Absolutely. So that brings us to our first point, which was how to bring tremendous value to your company, whether that's you as the technician doing the repairs or you as a technician working for someone else.
Right.
And I like that because that, in my mind, that is one of the very first things to be a good technician, to bring a lot of value, is to take the blinders off.
Right.
Is to think outside of the box and try to figure out how to repair things that you just can't find on YouTube, right? Because I know we like to poo-poo on YouTube a lot, but it is a resource that we recommend people to use, but you have to use it in a tempered manner. Right. And you have to understand what it is you're looking at, right?
It's great for kind of getting an idea, or like, hey, has anybody else kind of dabbled in this yet?
Right.
But solely, it's really up to you to figure out certain things that have been untouched. Take, for instance, I remember back in the day, it's like, oh my God, you can't take the digitizer off an HD2 without breaking the LCD, so, but it came up with me pounding on my technicians like, yeah, this can be done. So the good technician figured it out.
Right. Well, let me ask this question, because we say good technician, right? And it's very general. Right. And we're talking about technicians.
And that's where I'm going to go, is those specific skills.
So let me ask this question. In regards to because most people would consider themselves, you look at yourself and you say, am I a beginner technician?
Right.
Am I an intermediate technician? Or am I an advanced technician? Right. And I would ask everybody who's listening tonight, look at yourself and ask yourself, if you had to put yourself in one of those categories, as a technician, where do you place yourself?
Right.
Right. And I would say most people would probably say, here's the question. How would you rate yourself in terms of beginner, intermediate, advanced? How do you know if you're a beginner? Is it based on how many repairs you can do per day? I mean, what is the...
No, it's all about the skill set that you possess, right? And that's kind of where Frank was going with that conversation, is because realistically, in my book, and the definition of what we use at courses here at the school, is beginner courses, level 1 courses, are basically swaptronics. It's anything you just take screws out, pop a part in, put the screws back in, right? So if you take something apart, put it back together, I don't care where you're learning how to do it, if you figure it out on your own or if you're watching videos on how to do it. That's a beginner. If you don't know, and I'll tell you what happens, a lot of people do that, they put the device back in, phone doesn't power on, screen doesn't turn on, or it's a white screen, and they don't know how to get beyond that. Okay. That is the definition of a beginner technician.
Now let me ask you, what are the opportunities? Let's take it back to the agenda topic. What is the opportunity for somebody who is right there, right now?
Right.
I think most places need that. I mean, 90%, there's a little bit of refinement that needs to happen, but I'll take a beginner technician all day long. Right. And there's a lot of places out there that there's owner operators in their business that don't know anything, so that basic technician is still valuable. Even for an owner operator that's maybe trying to grow his business that can't do everything, that beginner technician is valuable too, because, hey, do this. The beginner might not know, like, oh, I can't troubleshoot this, but he can do a task. Take this apart.
Right.
Reassemble that. If you run into a problem, let me know.
They
They
add value to an employer. I would say the other aspect for a technician that is just in that state, it's a great opportunity to just go out and start making money. It goes back to what we taught in the first webinar, which was, give them some training on how to do an iPhone 5 as an example and get out there and start doing some repairs, even if you're doing it on the side. Right? It's a great way to start actually earning a little bit of additional money, or even beginning to build the foundations of your business. Right?
A beginner technician can make a pretty decent living.
Yeah.
I mean there's a good opportunity there to just learn that basic skill set. And start making a living and bringing home income for the family or themselves.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned income, Frank, because that's a great segue into our next topic, and we didn't finish.
Well,
it's so because beginner. So, and the reason why I really want to distinctly identify these different levels is because of our next agenda topic, right, which is salary. Right, everybody want to know, well, what is the money like?
And it makes sense on two paths, right? It makes sense for individuals who might be aspiring to become technicians that want to work somewhere. But then also, like, if I'm an employer, what should I expect to offer to pay to get good talent? Right. So before we go there, though, I want to really flesh out the different levels of what the expertise is.
Exactly.
And I also want to give you guys some food for thought on how to start developing your skills, because realistically, it kind of goes back for me and in the businesses that we built. The most important foundational element that separates a level 1, level 2, or level 3 technician is really, it comes down to troubleshooting, which is thought process.
Problem solving.
It's problem solving, analytical process, right? And I'll dumb it down to an easy example. If you have a computer screen, or let's say a TV, right, and the TV won't turn on, if the first thing they do is go get the screwdriver to take that apart to figure out why the TV's not, the thought process isn't right. Like, you have to start at basic things. Let me see if it's plugged in. Let me see if the electricity to the outlet's working, right? If the cord is messed up before you ever take it apart. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about those analytical problem-solving skills. It's really understanding how to the thought process of start here and work my way here before I get the soldering iron out and start melting a bunch of crap on the board that didn't need to be done.
Reminds me of a flow chart.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly right.
If not this, then this.
Right. Almost. Exactly. Right. And of course, again, you're going to have things that fall outside of that.
Right.
But a good technician, one of the essential skills in any good person that calls himself a technical person, is to be able to think that through. Right. And I guarantee you, like Frank, that's probably, even though you're not a good technician, that's probably one of your strengths that really helps you and your team.
That is basically the biggest strong point that I have. Even my advanced technicians come to me to solve issues, because just because I can't do a soldering joint or whatever doesn't mean I don't know what needs to be done. And I'd rather have the problem solver around, because people who can solder or people who can disassemble, you can do that all day long. Whether or not they can solve the problems and the issues and continue to push towards a solution, that's very powerful. And most people, I want to say the majority of people, do not have that ability.
Right. Yeah, it's the Swaptronic ability where, I just take the screws out, put back in, now I don't know what to do.
It's not working, broken.
Right.
Throw it away.
The other essential skill that I would say is important that makes a really solid technician is the ability to find solutions. Right, and we already defined that as a problem solver, but in my mind, there's two parts to that. Right, there's one part of figuring out how to troubleshoot and your thought process, and then there's the other road that you can go down. That is, well, how can I figure out how to solve problems? Okay, because in this industry, not everything is available. Right, like you're not going to have a part that you might need, and that's the part that needs to be replaced. Right, or you're not going to have the answer that you need in order to make the next step. So having the ability to go out and find solutions and try things and come up with things, to me, those are the two most critical elements that provide tremendous value. And I have to say, like, what I've seen in the industry, from big companies that have hundreds of technicians to retail locations that only working with a few at a time per location, that is like the number one thing that they look for And that separates someone who comes in making minimum wage versus someone who's worth a lot of money to that company.
Right.
It's because of that problem-solving ability and the ability to go and, you know, think things through properly.
Right.
So,
right. And how valuable is that? I mean, what do you look for when you're hiring? Are you looking for the advanced technician? Are you looking for the intermediate technician? Or you're looking for the beginner technician? And how does that play into your hiring process?
Well, I would say that's going to be different for each business cycle that you're in. I don't carry a ton of advanced technicians. There's really, for me, there's no need. I rather have intermediate and basic technicians because I only need one advanced technician to 5 of those intermediate and basic technicians, because, you know, the advanced technician can help guide those other individuals on where they need to be. That's where I think really the advanced, it does come into soldering and things like that, intermediate, and then advanced would be the very critical soldering. So those are skills that individual needs to possess on top of that really good problem solving.
You got anything about surrounding the advanced technician?
yeah, I mean, what I would say in his model,
Right.
that makes sense,
That makes sense,
right?
right.
Because he's in a retail model. You're not dealing with, and I know you do a lot of business-to-business repairs, but depending, again, like one of the things we talked about before, it depends on what your business model is. If my model is to go out there and fix phones for you, then I'm going to want to be a better technician than what you have.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So that it really depends on how you want to position yourself in your marketplace. You know, for me, I have to say that if I was coming in to be a technician, I don't want to be easily replaceable.
Right.
Because that's the other part, is if you have 4 or 5 lower level technicians, the more advanced technician is the harder technician to replace.
Yeah.
So they command the higher salary, right? And there's not as many of them in the marketplace.
Right.
So for me, if that's the route that I want to go, I want to be the absolute best technically
Right.
that I could be if I was in those shoes.
So let me ask this before we move on, because we got to move on to the next
no
topic.
problem.
What does a person do to become the technician they want to become?
Right.
What is the stepping stone? What is the first step? I want to be an intermediate, advanced
He's
technician.
itching. He's itching.
What is my process? What do
I will
do?
say, I want to say this because I deal with people that in a hiring process say this, well, I'm an advanced technician or whatever. Oh, really? You are, huh?
Right.
Well, let me see if you're really advanced. So really, I think the process is start with the basics, master that, get into the intermediate, which, you know, is your introductory soldering and things like that. Once you got the charging ports down and all that basic level soldering, and then once you do that and master that, you get into the advanced. And the advanced is, you know, board level repairs, chip replacements, and things like that. Also, problem solving, troubleshooting skills, things of that nature. But time. Time. You can't become an advanced technician in a month.
Right.
It just does not happen.
Right.
I disagree with you a little bit on that.
Skill.
I disagree with you a bit on that, because I think you could have a technician that comes out of a really solid training program that could run laps around most people.
Before you interrupt me, I was going to go in and say, and for me, an advanced or experienced technician, you know, you can learn for sure. We've had individuals that we put through the Cellular Repair School program from start to beginning. Were they an advanced technician? Yes, they were. They had all the skills. They could do what they needed to do, but they just weren't experienced.
Right.
The development of the problem-solving skills, I think that's what comes along with time.
Right.
You can learn all the skills that you need to have an advanced technician, but sometimes it's just the problem-solving.
Right. So what I would say is there's a lot of terminology in the industry around what's called a master technician.
Right.
And our definition at the school is you can't be a master technician. Mastery comes through time.
It comes through
But
time.
you can be an advanced technician in a pretty short time frame.
Exactly.
If you have exposure to a lot of repairs with really solid formal training. We've seen that.
And one thing we know through our research is in most other industries, any certification that deems you a master requires
Time on job.
time on job.
Right? Yeah. Significant time on job.
Significant time on
Typically,
job.
yeah. So, and that's one of the reasons why at our school we don't have anything that's labeled a master technician program. Because it's just anybody who uses common sense. I think it goes back to the analogy we use about cake baking.
Right.
You know, you're not going to be a master cake baker in 3 weeks, right? Like you could be really good at it.
Cake.
You can bake the hell out of a cake.
Yeah.
You know, you could be an advanced. I would say you could be an advanced cake baker. You could do more than someone who has no formal training, possibly.
Right.
Right. But realistically, it's that time of understanding more about how to do what it is that you do, understanding your craft,
Right.
that creates mastery.
Right.
Right. So I agree with you. I just wanted to clarify the terminology
for everyone out
Right.
there. Yeah, and I think that's what we kind of get into, the lingo, the jargon
Right.
that we use, because there's a lot of things that are being thrown around in the industry.
Right. And you kind of touched on it, and that's why, like, my job is to always, I try to clarify things, because a lot of times when potential students call us at the school, they're confused about what certain things mean, right? And it kind of goes back to what we need to finish is the different levels of training, right? And what they expect between those different levels. What do you learn? And again, what can I earn, right? What can I learn and what can I earn? Right.
Learn and earn.
You know, because there's tons and tons of confusion. We hear it all the time.
Right.
All the time.
And you know, it'd be nice to talk about that, but I think we'll save that one for the next webinar, because that's a pretty
that's an in-depth one.
That's an in-depth discussion. That's a very in-depth discussion with what you just said, the difference between what you just said, say a 5-day boot camp class of training versus time to be a master at your craft.
Right.
That's night and day. That's apples and oranges.
Right.
And I think a lot of people in this industry get that confused.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, 100%.
Like if I come into your shop and and I'm interviewing for you, and I deem myself a master technician because I've had a training for
5 days.
5 days. Yeah, I'm kind of setting myself up for
some disappointment.
Some disappointment.
Yeah, you set everybody up for some disappointment in that situation. Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Especially if they call for a certain pay and they don't deliver, you're really setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
Great segue.
Because your expectation is here.
Right.
But your qualification is here.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's a great segue, because the next thing we want to talk about is potential salaries. Now, this is for both ends, okay? This is on both ends. This is the technician who is looking to get paid, obviously, right? Who deems themselves intermediate, beginner, master, whatever it is in the interview process. And then there's the person on the other side of the interview process, which is somebody like you, right? Who has to say, okay, this is your value, this is what you're worth, this is what I'm going to offer you. So wherever you lie in that, this is where that conversation is for you guys. So let's talk about that. What are the potential salaries
I like to start from the top.
I started from the bottom. Right? Started from the bottom and work our way up.
Now, one thing I will say before we start, when I got into this industry, I could tell, I know for a fact that the salary was very across the board low.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and the industry has definitely changed. So, just wanted to throw that out there right now.
Yeah. And the reason why I want to put the high number, we'll talk about the low, but realistically, I want to congratulate a friend of mine, J Dub, who actually just got a position who's been involved with the school and things like that. He's got a lot of training, and he's got the advanced skills, but he's mastered them. Congratulations! I want to give a round of applause to him. He just got a job for like $70,000.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Salary here, so
plus bonuses.
Plus bonuses
and all kinds.
Up to $100,000.
Yeah.
So he did pretty well, and he didn't really have, when he first got into the industry, it was like Will was saying, he wasn't making a whole lot, but he worked himself up there over time, and now he's doing very well.
He's reaping the benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. So to take it back to where a lot of our viewers are, and I wouldn't say that is probably, and his position is a little bit different because he's not a pure technician.
Right.
But again, this really is going to vary depending on where you work.
Where you work, what your position is.
Right.
But
just like I would say, just like any other industry.
But what I have to say is the foundation for a lot of these positions and high-level, mid-level management, executive positions in this industry, you have to have a technical training.
You do. You have to understand what you're talking about.
You have to be some sort of technician, whether that's basic, advanced, with great troubleshooting skills, whatever. You have to have that skill set.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So to kind of take it back to what we see, and again, I always have to be the one to put the caveats out there. What we say is not, guaranteed or promises or anything like that.
Anytime we talk about money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no guarantee or promise of anything that we're going to talk about. Right. I'm just reporting back what I hear through industry that, people that I know.
And these are experiences talking about, what we're seeing, business trends, what some of our,
some of our students are going out and earning.
Right. And some of our friends of ours. So, we're not saying you're going to go out there and make X amount for sure.
Right. Yeah. So
it's all up to you.
A lot of people coming into the business that say they have experience that typically don't. They're usually going to come in, depending on if they can prove that they have some decent because there's two thoughts to it, right? There is the ability to do some basic work and have really good throughput, right? Which is like making pizzas and you just make a beautiful pizza really quick.
It's quality,
right? Yeah, exactly. It's quality. So those type of individuals can be worth, I would say, 12 to 15 bucks an hour without any sort of formal training, right? A lot of people who've just taken apart a few phones in the space, they're going to come in typically at minimum wage. Now, granted, if they have, depending on the position,
$10 an hour.
Yeah, if they have some sort of management experience or retail experience, you know, their troubleshooting ability, and obviously their negotiation ability is all going to determine if they can get more than that, right? What we are starting to see now is that people who have formal educations are actually being able to demand a little bit more because, you know, one of the pushes that we've been working on is to actually make our certification in the industry mean something, right? We want people who have some sort of training from us to actually be able to go in the industry, prove that they are good technicians and command top dollar. So, you know, again, I would say that we've seen ranges up to about the $20 an hour range, you know, and that's just a pure technician, man. That's all you're doing is just turning screws day in, day out, or soldering, you know, just pure teching. I do know some refurbishing companies that pay more, you know, for a high-level experienced technician. It's not unheard of to earn $25, $26, $27 an hour, just as a pure repair technician, which I think is pretty fantastic considering, like you mentioned, a few years ago, you know, it was very difficult for anyone to command that sort of salary.
And when you're commanding that salary, you know, you got to take in, they are definitely adding value to those companies. Like take, for instance, that refurbisher and that is paying that salary or hourly wage. The reason why he's doing that, that company's doing that, is because now that technician is yielding more product for the company, so it makes sense to pay that individual to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's, you definitely have to bring value. You can't just say, yeah, well, I'm an advanced technician.
Right.
You have to prove it.
Right. And what he was able to do was come into the company, you know, and show the ability to use some troubleshooting skills to actually reduce their non-repairable rate. So they're getting more, when Frank said yielding, for those of you who don't understand our terminology industry, that's just that they're able to get more phones out now because of the abilities that he brought, and he's actually been training some staff on how to do things that he's been doing, that he knows how to do. So that's creating tremendous value for that refurbishing company, tremendous value.
Which is kind of our, it's our next agenda topic, is understanding your value as a technician. So that you know, that feeds right into what next is.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously using some sort of skill set to bring value, to increase the your company, and again, we're using employers specifically, but this is even for your own company, guys. I want you guys to think about it in this way, because there's always, no matter how great a company seems, or no matter how great you might have thought your business plan out, there's always something that could be improved, right? So, you know, having the ability to see opportunity when you're working somewhere or in your own business to improve things, and being able to strike on that, or at least communicate that to someone so you can work collectively to come up with solutions, adds tremendous value, not only to your own life, but to the life of your employer or your business, right? Frank, what are some of the things, and I'd like to take back to you, because obviously, you know, you hire a lot of technicians constantly, so what are some things that you look for in their, I would say, even beginning technicians, in ways that they can add value? How can they add value to your organization?
And let me ask, I mean, even because you're obviously going to speak from the retail perspective, right? And we know it's more than just the retail perspective, but also in that ad, how culture plays a part into your decision as far as, and
that's a good point.
And technical skills.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think a lot of the people kind of associate with the retail. That's why I tend to focus on that. Obviously, I'm in the retail as well.
That makes
sense. You know, for a basic technician, I like to see, this is just for my own, the way I do business is, I don't like to get a technician that's actually worked somewhere else. I do and I don't. A beginner technician that's worked somewhere else should be an immediate technician, in my opinion. So if you're still a beginner while you work somewhere, that completely turns me off, period.
Right.
But when I am looking for a beginner, it's like, hey, I've taken some classes, it's online training, I've done this, have you worked anywhere? No. I'm like, prime candidate. The reason why it's prime candidate, he took the initiative to get the training, took the initiative to do this, he wants to be in the industry. and now that individual's hungry to kind of learn more. So that's what I look for. And culturally, that's kind of the attitude that I'm looking for to fit into what we do day in and day out at Gearvana. So I think it's going to be a little different for everyone else. Like, take for instance, if you're scrambling and hurting for help, you're going to take a guy that has experience because you don't want to train.
Right.
A little bit more.
Or you may not be able to train.
Or you may not be able to
Right.
train. You're in a position where you can't.
Yeah.
There are times where, take for instance, if I had real high turnover, like within a month, now I'll be like, you know what? I want to get someone where I don't have to train.
Start to ramp them up, right?
Ramp them up a little bit differently. So it's really where you're at in the business cycle. Right now I'm focusing more on culture and building a team, a value-added team, because that's where a position where I'm at. So I'm looking, like, when I look for technicians, I look for a little bit of different. It's not just about the technical for me.
Right.
It's about the attitude.
Right.
Personality.
Well, that's interesting, because I could tell you, I think we've all been in the technical industry, or we have technical backgrounds. And every place I've been that is technically inclined, it's always been male dominated.
Yeah.
Right. And which kind of makes sense, I guess. I don't know. But what I have seen in teaching is obviously we've had women, right? And
I ran across it, like, I would rather have a woman technician than a male technician. It just seems here. I like having that dynamic in the workplace.
Right.
Kind of. There's not a whole lot of machismo there. It's
Right.
just like the women do what they need to do. Brings a different skill set.
Well, that's what I was going to say. As far as skill set, do you see what are some of the characteristics you see in terms of skill set? Because I know in a classroom environment, females tend to have a better attention to detail.
Yeah, and it's one of those slippery slopes.
So it is a slippery slope, and I want to make sure we don't say the same.
say all female,
right? Yeah.
But what I do want to do is I do want to let people know that this is not just a male-dominated.
No, it's not.
Position.
No.
Right. As a matter of fact, you have females on your staff, right?
Most people in the industry like females on the staff just for the sole fact they tend to interact with the customers a lot better.
Right.
I would say it comes down to this. We're looking for good people.
Yeah, we are.
Whether they're male, female, purple, yellow,
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter, right? You're looking for people who can add value to your organization.
Absolutely.
Whether it's your company or whether you're looking to fit into someone else's company. That's where, and I think that's the bottom line
But
of what it is.
the biggest thing I want people to understand, though, is I want, especially women who may be watching, don't just think that this is a male-dominated field and there's no opportunity for you guys to participate.
I mean, it is a male-dominated field.
It is.
But to me, that shows an opportunity.
It shows an opportunity
to come in and do something different.
You have an advantage. You almost have an advantage. So it's
Yeah,
one
absolutely.
of those things. So don't be afraid of that.
But it is like you said, Josh. You're looking for the best person across the board.
Right. And I like where Frank was kind of going with that, because it drives home the point of what we're talking about, though, of how technical is so important. It is the foundation.
Right.
But you notice that he didn't put all his weight into the technical. Right. I mean, if you can prove, it's funny because it works the same way, right? Once you can prove to me that you have the technical, let's get past that.
Right.
Now let me see if I like you.
Right.
Now let me see if you fit into my culture.
Right.
See if you get along with my team.
Right.
Right? Because you can have someone who's just a pain in the butt to work with, and
let me see if you get along with my customers.
Exactly, right? You get 2 complaints, and it's not working out. This relationship isn't working.
Why is there 2 bad reviews with your name on it?
Right. Yeah, that's an issue, right?
So what do you guys see? Future. Let's last topic. Let's kind of sum it up like this. What is the future of the repair technician? From today here on out, we kind of talked about where it is now, right? $20 an hour, anywhere from $10 an hour to $20 an hour, opportunity to work for yourself or somebody else. What is the future of the technician? We'll start with.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't have a crystal ball,
right?
So I don't know,
right.
But I can tell you the trend that I'm seeing and that I'm hearing and that I feel is because, like we talked about before, there's more attention happening into this space now, right? There's money moving into the industry, right? There's larger companies moving into the industry.
Right.
So when that happens, by nature, it causes an upswing,
Right.
right? Because now there's more demand for the little bit of resources there are to go around.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing, right? We're seeing that the bigger companies are coming in, and what they're doing is they're headhunting. They're headhunting the small guys
Right.
to steal their valuable staff, and they're offering them great packages.
Right.
You know, really beneficial pay, you know, vacation and, you know, health benefits and all this stuff. You know, and what I'm excited about that is because it shows that we're turning into a real industry.
Right.
Right? For a long time, this has been an opportunistic space. Right? But now it's turning into a real industry, and I see it, hopefully over the next 3 to 4 years, I see it starting to mimic something of like a manufacturing industry, electronics manufacturing industry, right? Where you have assemblers and you have, you know, troubleshooters, and they're really well paid, well valued assets to the company.
Now, with that said, how should opportunistic people feel? How should your entrepreneurs feel about that?
Right.
That evolution.
Right.
Right. Should they be nervous? Should they be?
I say this, and here's how it is, right? You either embrace the change or you get crushed by it.
Right.
Right. So, in my opinion, in my mind, I wouldn't feel challenged by it at all. Right. I like challenges. Right. That's, to me, that shows an opportunity. So what I would try to do is maneuver myself to be at the forefront of that. And if I have to start offering a little bit more pay to attract better people, believe it or not, I believe this in anything you buy. You pay for what you get.
Right. And
you pay for what you get. Now, that's not to say that everybody's always worth the top amount. Right. You still have to use some common sense and some screening techniques in your hiring process. But, you know, for the most part, you know, pay.
Right.
You know, if that's what it's going to take to get good people, don't be afraid to offer people.
Because your competition's going to do it.
Right.
and sometimes that's what they all have to offer is just pay. So, I mean,
exactly.
The better you pay your employees and the better you treat them in the workspace, the more retention you're going to have. That is there as an employer is so important, you know. Don't let good people go over like $1 an hour or even $2 an hour. And I know it can add up to be a lot, but I've made mistakes in the past where I've let a really good individual go, you know, just overpay. And then now that I'm looking back, I would say about a year from now, and it wasn't worth it because now I'm really paying somebody that now, but it took so much time and effort and loss of sales. It cost me way more. You know, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing,
you have to value those really good technicians. There's been a place where I threw money at the problem and paid someone who didn't deserve that amount of money, and it completely just turned into an entitlement mentality and destroyed customer service and things like that. And I don't have to fire the guy anyways.
Right.
You know. So, but what were you going to ask?
I was just going to say, what are some of the things, and I think you hit on that, like what are some of the things you've seen, because the question was kind of about the future of the technician, right? And some of the things
I did have a comment
and should, you know, the opportunistic people such as yourself, right, what are you doing to combat, so to speak, the change or the evolution?
I actually love the evolution and change because now the labor pool is becoming bigger, and you know, it's able for me to staff up a lot quicker. You know, my company's growing because of, you know, programs like Cellular Repair School has put in place, because when you get somebody, it's value added. And that's the thing I want everyone to take away as an employee or an employer. You need value added people because that will grow the business.
Right.
And that's what any employer is looking for. And as an employee, ask yourself, what is your value proposition as an individual, and what can you provide for that?
Right. How can I provide value? One point I want to make, and this, I don't know if this is a melancholy tone or not, but a lot of our students are aspiring to be their own business owners. Right? So the challenge that we have as a school is that we're not a business school. Right? We're a school that focuses on a technical aspect with a little bit of business sprinkled in, right? And I think our programs are fantastic. But because of that, at the end of the day, it's still on you to operate your own business. So, and I'm bringing this point up because what I've seen happen is people go out, be successful for a short period of time, and then end up having to close their doors because they were unable to succeed as business owners. Right? But what's awesome about where the market is going is what at first might have looked like tragedy turned into opportunity for a lot of these individuals because now they're some of the top grossing techs at companies like CPR and some of the other Break I Fix It and some of the other companies that are out there. So it's really awesome to see that even though they weren't able to quite hack it as a business owner,
which everybody's
not everybody can do it. I mean, there's a lot of other tough things involved in that, and I'm not one to sugarcoat things, right? So, but being able to get a good technical foundation in place proves that having that experience with the foundation, they're still able to turn what looks like lemons into lemonade.
That's a great point.
And let me throw a quick plug in on that. So if people are struggling in their business, is kind of what I've started providing for people coming out of cellular repair school, or even if you haven't done anything with cellular repair school yet, it's frank@gearavana.com. I can help people that are struggling in their business. I've been doing it for quite some time now, and I take only so many per month, and that's what we're starting to see. Cellular Repair School is not doing that as a school, but I'm actually providing that service for everybody here individually, Gearavana, as consultation for people. So if that's something that you guys want, again, we'll probably throw up the link here, frank@gearavana.com. I can help you out with that.
Excellent. Excellent.
I hope. Did we give them what we needed?
It's about 50 minutes.
I know we talked for a long time.
I say
let's ask the people
questions and just make sure that we got across what they wanted to hear. And
because this is one of those. It always comes back to adding value, and one of the things that's important to us is to add value to everyone's life. So if you're taking time out of your schedule to watch us, I appreciate it. I know Will appreciates it. Frank appreciates it. So I want to make sure we're giving you guys value in your life. And I guess with that being said, start posting your questions into the chat area on the side, and we're going to start rolling into Q&As, and we'll take questions for a while.
And this is my favorite part, guys. So ask away. Don't be shy. No such thing as stupid questions. If we feel it is, we won't.
We will tell you.
I'm just kidding. At least we won't call your name out.
We just want to read your question.
But no, there really isn't, because we know everyone's at a different level. So even though we talked about some high-level things, if you're just getting in or don't even know where to go with this type of training, ask away, because everything's relevant.
One thing I wanted to mention, we mentioned it last week, but for those of you who are in the employer or employee market, if you're looking for someone to hire, or if you're looking for a potential job, well, we just teamed up with smarttechjobs.com. It's a new job board specifically for the cell phone repair and gadget repair industry, and it's just really cool. There's no cost to post your resume on there, so you can have it on there and update it. It's kind of like it'll pull in your LinkedIn information.
Yeah, I've used it. Well, anything free I'll use. But I used it.
Did you posted a job up there?
Posted a job up there, and I've gotten a lot of pretty good applicants, so take the time to do it. It's free, guys.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't have to post your resume if you're a silent person, but we see that as a pretty good opportunity, because then you let people like Frank and these guys look at your resumes and headhunt you if they're looking for a particular position.
Yeah.
And then as an employer, it's a no-cost thing to do, so it doesn't hurt to put it up there. And we're going to push it. We're going to push it to all of our students. We're going to push it to as many people as we can, because these are the kind of things that we need, guys. And if you're thinking about getting into your own business, believe me, these are the things that we need in our industry to help us as business owners so we can succeed. It makes it easier to find qualified people instead of having to waste a lot of time and money on places where you're just going to kind of spitball and not really get the.
Or you might find somebody that's been on there quite a few times, and another employer that's on there, like, hey, stay away from me.
Right. So again, check out smarttechjobs.com, and it's a no-cost service for all you guys out there.
Guys, and one thing I want to add. I know we talked about the entrepreneur, we talked about the corporations coming in, and we talked about the smart tech jobs. And what I want you guys to understand is there is so much opportunity for everybody in this space.
There really is.
We talked about how big this industry is. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and there's 20 different ways to cut this pie in terms of making income in this business. So the opportunity is ridiculously large. It's still ridiculously underserved.
It really is.
Right.
It really is. Yeah, it really is.
I mean, if you just think about the fact that everybody, I mean, you ask the question, do you have a cell phone, right? Do you have a tablet? Do you have a PC? And most of you people probably say yes 3 times, right? So with that being said, it just goes to show and reinforce the point I'm trying to make is that the opportunity is there's enough opportunity to go around for everyone, and it's still a good time for you guys to get in, get the training, wherever you get it from, Cellular Repair School, get the training and utilize what you learned and go out there, make a difference in your life, make some money. And with that being said, you guys got anything you want to say before?
I know we're going to get into it. I like rambling.
I'm actually kind of looking for the questions.
So, the questions bring up all kinds of conversations for us also.
They do. So let's go ahead and start pulling up
let's get into
some questions. Let's see. What do you guys got? So, Josh, help me out. Look for some questions. I see a lot of comments. Just say we got people on here.
Good. Hey, shout out to Matthew. I think someone was asking about the Cellular Repair School magazine, right? So,
exactly.
Matthew went out there and shared the link to the magazine that we do have available. It's no cost to you guys.
Right.
And what are we putting that out? Is that a quarterly magazine?
That is it's a bi-monthly magazine. So
so every other month.
Every other month we'll have a new magazine coming out. Again, a lot of these things that you guys see, there's information that's only in that particular thing.
That's right.
So information you might
we
find on
want
Facebook.
you guys to have a relationship with us.
Exactly. Information, if you guys aren't on Facebook, go like us on Facebook. YouTube, go like us on YouTube. You need audio, what do we call them, podcasts.
Right.
Got podcasts out there. We have the webinars, obviously, we can learn from. We try to put this training everywhere so you guys have access to it, and we put different things in different places. So it's almost like a hunt for information.
It is, yeah. It's an Easter egg hunt for jewels, right?
But we want you to go out there and get all of that stuff, guys. So, yes. Man, we have Boston on here. We have the Cayman Islands on.
We got a lot of people all over the world again, which I love, man. It's such an international thing. So before this moves, Alvaro says, I've taken your courses previously, and you mentioned that you have a new curriculum, and I would like to take it. When will those classes be available? So I appreciate you bringing up the question, Alvaro. I'm not going to be too long-winded on this. And yes, we do. In fact, our new course curriculum is going to be available starting July. So look for it. It'll be posted up actually on our website at the end of this week. We're going to have some new course catalogs coming out, all kinds of really cool stuff. And basically what we've done is we've revamped our entire curriculum, and now we have much longer classes. So for a long time, we've been this kind of a la carte service for people where you could come in and take just a lens separation class or just a soldering class, or obviously our most popular class, which is our 5-day comprehensive boot camp. So we're still going to have the boot camp class available, but in addition to that, we're going to have classes that are specifically focused on the different levels that people want to attain in the industry. So there's going to be a level 1 class, there'll be a level 2 class, there'll be a level 3 class, which are all 40 clock hours each, and they're going to encompass a lot of different things. So like the level 1 class is going to include tablet training, it'll include obviously multiple different types of cell phones, and the reason being is because our goal at the school is to create the best technically strong individuals that we can in the industry. And what we've realized through feedback and just understanding what the industry struggles are is that there just isn't enough time. So our job is to make sure that you leave here truly prepared and confident to do what you need to do.
Absolutely.
So that's why our classes are going to look longer as far as the level 1 goes. The level 2 course is going to be very similar, but it's going to include the lens separation and some more soldering things. So there's going to be, look for details. We're going to be sending out information on that. In fact, we'll probably be having a webinar on that in the next several weeks. But I got a little long-winded, but just to let you know, Alvaro, July 1st,
right.
Look for those classes. You will see them on the calendar by the end of the week.
And I just want to reinforce the benefit of extending that time is that when you go out, especially you technicians, when you go out and you're competing against another guy in the job market, right, it's going to be apples and oranges, night and day, between that guy who you're competing with, who went to a 5-day course, right, for the technical expertise, and a guy who's gone through this course that we're actually creating with in mind what we started with is how to create, like Josh said, the best technician, right, and that incorporates time.
And exposure to a lot of different devices and workmanship.
You're going to be night and day different.
Right? So, yeah, I mean, the classes, that's a whole nother level of class difficulty as well. But the focus being to make sure that everybody who leaves here is truly prepared and excited to go out and add value to an employer or to their business.
And your employer's going to
So
see
you got
I got a question. Tony, I took a boot camp cell phone course. He put in quotes, no support.
Right.
Do you recommend this course? The course I took was not online. Sadly, I didn't receive any support after I completed the course. You want to answer?
Well,
that,
here's what I would say, Tony. If you're looking for support, Cellular Repair School does have a very good support system. You can actually call in. You could even buy the online product. You don't have to go to the class or whatnot. So if you got some training or whatnot, obviously you're going to get more. We have that in July. We actually have level 1, level 2, level 3. That's actually going to be about a week long, so it is more extensive. So you may not need as much support, but if you do need support ASAP right now, get the online training. You automatically get free support. We can call in and talk to technicians. That's my
I didn't even hear the question.
My recommendation for what you need.
It's
because
Tony Boothroyd.
But that's really the thing that you're going to have to do. You can lean on us.
Right.
Even if once you become a student as well, what happens is even if you can't fix it on site, going with the technical support, you can go through. You can go through and do. You can send it into Gearvana as well for some reason.
Right. And Tony, I'll add this too as far as support. We understand here at Cellular Repair School. What we do understand is that you're not going to get all your questions answered in class because you're going to have questions after you leave class.
That's right.
Right, because you're not going to know everything you need to ask. So what we did a long time ago, especially for people who attend on site, we created an online course that Frank was talking about. And for you guys who attend on site, that online course comes as your extended learning, which means once you leave here, you're still tied in to getting the information and asking us questions. So we're the only training facility that I'm aware of that actually gives you or offers you, that I'm aware of, that offers you extended online training post your on-site training. And like Frank was saying, if you choose to do just the online training, then the support is already built in. You can call us. Frank actually
a lot of my technicians, also my staff, help out with that. So
right.
There's people with experience. So you get people who do this day in and day out.
Yeah, for the technical calls.
So,
and of course, for the business calls, if you need support, the option is always there to call. And then obviously Frank has his coaching program.
There was an email too. How do you spell it? It's Frank, and it's GearVana.com. Frank at Gearvana.com.
A lighthearted one. Matthew said, "Does William wax his head?"
Is it shining? It's probably shining.
He's got a little hair on there.
Like I'm saying, I hate to groom myself too much.
From selfproclaimed@gmail.com. Hey Frank, do your texts also ring up customers, take payments, answer calls? Also, once you train someone who is a newbie, do you make them sign non-compete and confidentiality agreements?
I do, and I mean, realistically though, the non-competes and things like that, if they want to go out, it's whether you want to uphold that. Some states don't even recognize non-competes, so you got to take a look to see where you're at. But to answer the questions, I have not all my technicians answers calls. So typically how I run my business, I have an advanced technician who does nothing but repairs. That's all he does. And then I have a bunch of other people, about 4 to 7 people that will do customer service and things of that nature. So, I could rotate them. I could have one person doing repairs and then one day does calls. I have a manager that does basic. He's only a basic technician, but he manages the store, has good problem-solving skills. He pretty much deals with like all the customer service and making sure everything goes well, but at the same time, making sure all the technicians are doing what they need to do. So I do not. Sometimes in your business cycle, you have to have your technicians answer calls and do repairs and ring up customers. Sometimes they have to do it all.
Yeah,
but if you can get away from it and start separating it out, in my opinion, that's the way to go.
Yeah, and back on the non-compete, realistically, confidentiality agreements, you should get those in place because, and there's a couple of things that you want to make sure. In your businesses, you should be coming up with proprietary ways of doing things, and you want to protect that. That is your intellectual property. So you want to definitely make sure you get confidentiality and non-disclosure agreements in place to try to protect your intellectual property. Because even when someone is working for you, if you're developing things and they're on the clock developing things for you, that stuff belongs to you and your company.
Yeah.
So that's something to be aware of. And then, the non-competes are kind of a sticky, they're kind of a sticky area.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's going to be hard for us because I'll tell you one thing that we do not endorse is trying to prohibit someone from being upwardly mobile, and being able to chase opportunities.
Right.
So, but obviously what you don't want is you don't want headhunters coming in, headhunting your guys,
I have a
and
comment on
taking
that
people.
too.
So,
I have a comment on that, and I think sometimes when people ask that question, they're always so afraid of either number one being held hostage by the technicians, number two people just jumping ship constantly, and if that's constantly happening in your business, then you have to ask yourself, what value are you really providing to your employees? Where you're creating that environment where that's happening.
right.
You're not, it may not be a good work environment for the employees. There may not be upward mobility. There might not be enough opportunity there. So that's something as an employer or as a business owner that you have to provide to retain people. It's all about culture. I like to work here. Money's not everything.
I got this one from Jim. I definitely want to address this one. Jim said, "Can we speak the name of other schools? On the fence about which school to attend. Called CRS today. Asked the woman why CRS is better than the other company. She said someone would call me back sometime. Not really impressed with the call, but really like the webinar." So Jim, I really want to speak to that. This is why we do these webinars. Is because we want to close those gaps. What we do understand is we get so many calls every day. We actually have a answering service that does some of our calls just because we get so many calls.
If we miss some.
If
people miss them in our staff, that's when it goes over to those individuals.
So what will happen is they will answer as many questions as they can, and then with the hopes that someone will call you back as soon as they possibly can. So one way that we're trying to make sure we keep touch base, and I'm glad you like this webinar, is to have this type of interaction with you guys so we can speak to you. These are myself and Josh, we're the pretty much top of the food chain when it comes to Cellular Repair School, and we know how important that is to make sure that we're talking to you guys personally. So we want to make sure, we know we can't, and again, I'm sorry about your experience with you're not really impressed by that, but what I want you to understand is that we're trying to make sure we connect with you in so many different ways to solve those issues and give you and get you the information you need so you can make a decision about what is the best place to, or where is the best place to actually get your training. So I hope this helps. I just wanted to explain that real quick because I know we get that question sometimes.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a gap we're working on closing.
Right.
For us, we get bombarded with phone calls.
Yeah,
and it's very difficult because a lot of the calls tend to be very, very long calls too because
people want information.
They want information, so they tend to be 30-minute to 1 hour calls, and our staff, we can't have 100 people on staff to do that.
Many times I'm on the phone and the phone's ringing and I'm on the phone with somebody else, so it just
right. So it'll roll over.
Right.
Exactly. So yeah. Hopefully that answers your question.
Glad you're enjoying the webinar, sir.
All right. What else we get, man? Get us a tough one. Actually, this isn't a tough one.
Question.
But Len asks, how well does my A+ cert and IT experience lend itself to this field? I would say having an A+ certification, it's not really going to give you a whole lot of value in this field in particular. But what it does demonstrate is that you have some mechanical aptitude and you should have some troubleshooting ability, right? So a lot of the things, obviously computers, and I don't have an A+ cert myself. I do know individuals that have them. But a lot of the things that we do are completely different than what the A+ cert is going to be. In fact, the A+ has a program called the A+ Mobility Cert. But if you're aware of that, what that is a software only, and even then, it is only for networking. So it's only to be able to connect mobile devices such as tablets and phones into an enterprise network. using their network.
Yeah.
So
what I will say though, what it does provide value as an employer though, if someone says, "Hey, I'm A+ certified," I'm like, "Great! Now I got another person on staff that can fix computers."
right,
And that's added. That goes back to
It's
what
added
your value
value,
proposition is to the employer. How you add additional value to not only you fix, able to fix cell phones once you get your training, or if you're already trained, you have an additional skill set that can either generate more revenue for the company or generate more revenue for your business.
exactly.
So for me, I like it because it's an additional skill set that my business can make money on. So, and I don't have to, because sometimes with my business, I have to outsource computers. If I have a guy on staff, I keep it in-house. But that's not my focus for my business. But if I have someone with a skill set, I'm going to utilize it.
It's a great answer, and I'm glad you jumped in because that's what I was going to say, right? Because it doesn't directly apply to what we do, but it provides value, absolutely.
Right.
And certification and training is always good.
Yeah,
Right.
More education, the better. The more you learn, the more you earn.
All right. You guys want to wind it down? Do about two more, maybe two.
Yeah.
More?
Did you identify another good one?
Michael says, "Do your online courses provide sufficient training?" Oh no, that's a different one. He asked the same question about the A+ certification at the end, but he said, "Do your online courses provide sufficient training for me to expect after 6 to 8 months of training to have a solid grasp on cell repair? Interested in starting my own side business, and how well does my A+ cert?" So he kind of asked that question too.
Yeah, you should be able to, in less time, depending on how many hours you put for it. It's going to take you way less than 6 months to kind of get started to be providing cell phone repair services to your customers. Literally, we put out a sample video that even if people focus on just one particular cell phone, i.e. the iPhone 5, people were able to generate money off of that just within, I would say, probably 1 week of getting that information. They were able to, and that was the goal. Get these people out training for like 1 week, get them out there making money, and people sent us emails ranting and raving like, "Hey, can I get another Craigslist ad? Hey, are you going to put out another free video?" Because they started making money right away to where, obviously they bought the training and they were super excited about it, but, they wanted other business things with it. But the moral of it and the point is you can start making money in a fairly short amount of time, depending on how many hours you put forth. You can do 1 hour a day and get going in a week, So it's fairly easy if you pick a specific device and focus on that.
Absolutely.
Any other ones? Any other good ones in there, Will?
I'm seeing some pretty good ones.
I'll call them out here.
Really informative. Thanks. Hope to be training soon. That's Michael Cusick. Stevie P. You guys need to do a boot camp. Road show. It's not a bad idea actually.
And wow. You know how difficult that'd be.
So Jim said, "Unfortunately, I cannot get this kind of interaction with any other company. Can you compare your company with the others and give me the advantages of choosing you over them? Also, do you have more locations than Arizona?"
I'm going to give the biggest one out there. I forget who asked the first question about the support. That is one of the biggest separators that Cellular Repair School has to offer than any other school. The other one is we're the only school that actually uses technology to help you train as an either you can use that online product for training at home, or if you come to the campus, that's more extensive training. It's over 90 hours worth of training, and it's something that we constantly put out there.
Right.
The other thing is too, we have a community here. We have such a big community and things that we offer outside of what just the technical is. We're about building the best technicians and the most successful businesses out there, period. We're not really focused on just giving you training and pushing you out there and throwing you away. It's more or less about building community, establishing relationships, and making people successful, So the support is there, and that's one of the biggest things that we offer.
I mean, if you think about it, guys, we've just given you guys about 60 minutes of training. Absolutely at no cost to you. So we're always training. We're always trying to deliver that value that Josh talks about so much. We're always trying to provide that value. even if you know, at no cost, you know, sometimes. So training is something we do, and we're always trying to do it in different facets, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's on a webinar using technology, like Frank said, online. We're always trying to make it where you guys can receive the information as fluid, as easy, and learn as quick and as simple, and implement that information to get the results that you want, which at the end of the day is, you know, what Frank does, is to have a location or to be a mobile technician and go out there and generate income for yourselves. That at the end of the day, that's what we want you guys to do, but we want to give it to you in the way that's best for you guys to receive. So we're one of the very few who offer it in so many different ways, and we give you all of those ways, right? We don't just give you one way, we give you all of those ways. So again, for example, if you come to class, you're going to get the online, absolutely, you know, it comes with the package. So, you know, you're going to get the webinars, it comes with the package. So you're going to get the YouTube videos, you're going to get the Facebook trainings. As a matter of fact, for you guys that aren't training right now, go to our Facebook, look at some of those online training videos and kind of see the information that we actually provide, or our YouTube channel, and see the kind of information you're actually going to be investing in. And you can take just that information, right, and create opportunity for yourself. What I want to say, we're going to give you so much more, right, and if you get off the fence and decide to actually do this as a business.
And here's the point. The point is, if you look at the quality of the free training, just imagine what the quality is going to be when you actually pay for it. So we give away all this free quality training because the training that you do pay for is above and beyond what you're getting for free. So hands down, you know, we've done a really good job in providing quality training, because we don't want to go out there and just do multiple locations, because it's more or less in
we focus on quality.
One quality product.
It's all about quality. At the end of the day, it's all about quality. A personal mission for ourselves is to help everyone succeed. Even the example we gave about, you know, when someone fails in their business, I take that personally. I don't like that to happen. But at the end of the day, we're not a business training. This is not a MBA program.
Yeah, we know, like you said, there's still opportunity, even though they failed in
absolutely
that facet of the business.
Absolutely, and that's what Frank was alluding to, is that we really try to be a connector as well. So if we could take that potential failure, help connect you with other opportunities, or provide you additional support to help you get through it, but still continue to use your knowledge, skills, and training you've received in this industry to remain in this industry, we're going to do that in every way that we can.
Which we've known many people to do.
That's right.
We've known many people to do.
So any other questions here?
You know what? I think that's pretty much, I mean, we're right at about an hour 15, so you got any question you want to?
Is there a real quick one? Get one last one in?
Yeah, one last question. One last question. I had seen one that was technical, actually. I guess we could take this one. I don't remember where it was. It slid down on me.
Galaxy.
It was a Galaxy 2, yeah. Someone was asking, do you have problems with Galaxy Note 2 lens replacements, just the glass-only replacements?
You know, I don't have problems with them, but with a technician here, I guess what they can say, the surface area is a lot larger. So if you're not, here's a little trick, okay? Sometimes what people use, obviously you need a heat plate. If you don't have a heat plate, get a heat plate. Doing this with a hot air station without a heat plate, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Heat plate it first, do the hot air station. You can use an Isesimo tool. We provide those as well. Or sometimes people take a laminated business card or an old credit card or whatnot and use that to get it out. But the problem is you're not getting probably the glue hot enough to where when you're pulling on one side, it's pulling up on the other and there's not enough give. So try different tools such as, Isesimo, laminated card, or, you know, let's say a credit card or whatnot. So those seem to work, and once we've done that, we've had no problems. So
right. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they were questioning about, but I think that's a really great start.
Right.
And again, that's what we cover in our lens separation training, which is now going to be in our level 2 program rolling out in July. Exactly. So you guys be on the lookout for all of that. Anything you want to end it with today?
I do. If you guys are currently members for the online and you do have more questions like that, feel free to call the technical support, because the staff is more than happy to kind of answer those questions.
That's right. Or post your questions in the forum. If you're online students now, make sure you use the forums for that stuff. You know, I want to make sure there's always a lot of interaction going on in the forums, but you know, if you are a student, make sure you're posting that sort of stuff in the forum so our staff can actually help answer those questions for you and help you figure out how to solve that problem.
Absolutely.
And again, we're all here to make people successful, so don't be afraid to shoot webinar ideas to us.
Support.
If you just want to talk about certain things, you know, just because you call or send an email, I'll still answer questions for people, you know, just to kind of help them get along. So we're all here to help and kind of make you guys successful.
And guys,
and
you
I
can
wanna
shoot
kinda sign
those.
off with that.
You can shoot those
Webinar ideas?
webinar ideas. Is it sales or support?
Support.
Support at cellularrepairschool.com. Again, that's support at cellularrepairschool.com. Shoot us webinar ideas. We're not going to be doing them every week like we've been doing them. We're going to do them bi-weekly, so that's twice a month. But make sure that you stay either on our list, check our Facebook, check our YouTube to keep up with when those scheduled webinars are going to be. All right, and if you're on that list, you're not going to miss it.
You're not going to miss it. Yeah, make sure you like us on Facebook and our social channels. You know, don't want to miss this stuff. And Twitter as well.
Social's big. I know a lot of people that, you know, social's big because it allows you to interact, not just with us, but you get to see what's going on with everybody else who's posting and doing things like that. So it's huge, especially in this space with sharing information, which is what Frank kind of talked about. So that's all I have. Josh, you got anything you want to say?
No, I'm just saying, man, I'm glad we took the time out to do this series over the last month. I've really enjoyed it. Hopefully everybody continues to get value out of it when we post the replays up.
Right.
And I'm actually looking forward to doing more of these. You know, again, send us your ideas. There's no topic that we're afraid of. So send us any idea you have.
Right.
And obviously, I think we're going to work on getting a voting system in place for webinar ideas.
Right.
So you guys can actually post up ideas and we'll take votes and then we'll make those into shows, but that's coming down the road. But in the meantime, we're going to aggregate those and we'll use the most popular requests to create show topic ideas for you guys. And we'll always have Q&As available. So I really enjoyed it, man. Enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I always like hanging out with you guys.
I love the questions, so, you know, keep them coming, guys.
Yeah. Again, we will hang around a little bit after we're done broadcasting tonight to answer your questions, so don't be afraid to send us some messages in the chat or post your questions, and we will take probably another 20 minutes or so to go through and try to answer as many questions as we can.
All right, guys.
That's all I got, man.
All right, guys.
All right. Signing off from Cellular Repair School, Willie Magno.
Joshua Gray.
Frank.
And we'll see you guys.
See you guys in the next one. Be good.